could you defeat the most ancient Egyptian god in a duel? And this guy tried to do it. He built an ancient portal to get to ancient Egypt and fight with the god Ra himself. What will happen? Will he defeat him? Or will he die and Biggie will never come home? In 8000 BC, in the deserts of North Africa, an alien ship lands among a small tribe, causing everyone to flee in terror. But a young boy, drawn by a light radiating from the ship, approaches it. Now, in 1928 Giza, Egypt, a team of archaeologists led by Professor Langford uncovers a large disc and a metal ring covered in hieroglyphs. During the dig, they also find an artifact from a prehistoric animal, surprising them. Additionally, they uncover a necklace featuring the Eye of Ra, the symbol of the Egyptian sun god. Professor Langford's daughter, Catherine, finds it intriguing and decides to keep it. Decades later, an older Catherine attends a conference of scientists where Professor Daniel Jackson speaks about the pyramids and his theory, which the audience dismisses with laughter. Catherine invites Daniel to her car and offers him a job translating ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Daniel accepts and arrives at a military base, where he's shown the disc discovered years earlier. Spotting translation errors on the board, he quickly corrects them. Just then, Colonel O'Neill arrives, informing Daniel that he'll now oversee the project. 2 weeks later, Daniel is still working to interpret the symbols. He spots a picture of the Orion constellation in a newspaper, matching the hieroglyphs on the disc. An emergency meeting is called the next morning, where Daniel explains to the officers that the symbols on the disc, previously thought to be words, are actually constellations. General West is skeptical of Daniel's quick work compared to the years of past efforts, but Daniel explains that the constellations could be arranged to indicate coordinates, with 6 points marking a destination in 3D space, and a 7th point representing the origin. Drawing a diagram of 2 people next to a pyramid, he clarifies his theory. When officials tell Daniel the device only has 6 markers, he's shown a second object, a ring made from unknown metal, discovered alongside the disc. Following Daniel's suggestion, the scientists arrange all the symbols in sequence, activating a portal in the ring's center. They send a rover through to investigate. Upon analysis, it appears the rover has reached a location within the Siam galaxy. The atmosphere there resembles Earth's, hinting at a habitable environment. As the portal begins to close, the rover transmits images of a second stargate, leading scientists to believe the 2 gates are connected. The authorities, however, consider canceling the project due to the unfamiliar symbols on the second gate, which could prevent their return if they cannot reactivate the portal from the other side. Daniel, confident he can decode the symbols, advocates for the mission, but Colonel O'Neill expresses doubts, recalling strange remains found with the ring. General West reminds everyone that they're venturing into an unknown world, giving O'Neill a secret mission. As preparations begin, Catherine gives Daniel her treasured necklace. As a child, she received a necklace she now believes will bring Daniel luck. With the portal reactivated, the team steps through, transporting to an unknown planet. When the soldiers explore, they discover an enormous pyramid standing in the center of a desert. Although the landscape is dry, it can support life. Colonel O'Neill orders the team to prepare to return in an hour, but Daniel reveals that the gate won't function. While he recognizes the symbols, he still needs their precise alignment order, which he expected to find on tablets near the gate, but weren't there. Frustrated, the soldiers think Daniel has stranded them, but O'Neill calms the situation. Later, while retrieving his books discarded by the soldiers, Daniel spots footprints in the sand. Meanwhile, Colonel O'Neill assembles a nuclear bomb that he secretly brought under General West's orders as a safeguard against any alien attack. Following the footprints, Daniel encounters a strange creature, realizing it's a pet, although no people are in sight. The team's arrival frightens the animal, causing it to flee and pull Daniel toward a small settlement. The team follows, and Daniel attempts to communicate with the locals, who, noticing his Eye of Ra necklace, kneel before him. A soldier scans the mineral being mined and identifies it as the same material from which the gate is constructed. The tribe's leader, Kasuf, greets them warmly despite their language barrier and leads them to a city where people bow before a massive disc bearing the Eye of Ra. Daniel surmises the people believe he's a messenger of Ra. Suddenly, a warning siren blares, and the locals scatter. Colonel O'Neill attempts to contact the camp, but the signal is too weak, as a sandstorm surrounds the soldiers there, forcing them to shelter inside the pyramid. O'Neill wants to return to the pyramid, but Kasuf detains him due to the storm. Curious about how they'll find a way home, Daniel asks Kasuf about a symbol, but Kasuf misinterprets and takes Daniel to a room to be cleaned and sends a young woman, Shaoyuri, to him. Nervous, Daniel declines her offer, but, to avoid offending Kasuf, allows her to stay. While drawing a symbol in the sand, Shaoyuri completes it, leading Daniel to realize she's seen it before. Meanwhile, as the soldiers wait out the storm in the pyramid, a massive spaceship suddenly lands above, shaking the ground. The soldiers are startled and ready their weapons. An unknown being attacks and renders them unconscious one by one. The final soldier turns to see a supernatural figure resembling Anubis, with glowing blue eyes, who drags him into another chamber. A nearby coffin glows as a hand emerges from it. Meanwhile, Shaoyuri takes Daniel to a dusty basement filled with hieroglyphs. O'Neill attempts to contact the soldiers, but receives no response. Joining Daniel, he listens as Daniel recounts the hieroglyphs' true story thousands of years ago. An alien, fleeing his dying world and seeking to prolong his life, arrived on Earth, where early humans fled from his ship, except one fearless boy who approached. Taking over the boy's body, the alien proclaimed himself ruler, built the Stargate, and transported thousands to this planet to mine the vital mineral that powers their technology. Eventually, a rebellion on Earth led to the Stargate's burial to prevent further uprisings. To suppress knowledge, Ra outlawed reading and writing. Daniel then finds a round stone with engraved symbols, realizing it's what he needs. But it's broken, and one crucial symbol is missing. However, Colonel O'Neill is less interested in Daniel's story and more focused on his team's safety. He orders everyone back to the pyramid, but upon reaching the base, they find a pyramid-shaped spaceship in place of the pyramid. Sensing danger, the colonel arms himself and enters cautiously. Inside, he notices evidence of a recent struggle, bullet marks, indicating the soldiers had tried to defend themselves. Just then, the ancient creature attacks the soldiers again, but the colonel manages to save only Daniel. As they head toward the gate, O'Neill realizes the bomb he'd planted has gone missing. Suddenly, a circular section of the ceiling opens, and 3 guards descend, escorting the colonel and Daniel to the throne room. There, Ra appears, worshipped by the natives as a god. Ra reveals the bomb and warns O'Neill that he will punish him for attempting to destroy his world. When Ra's guards remove their masks, it's clear they are merely human, not divine beings. O'Neill seizes a guard's weapon and fires, but as another guard tries to retaliate, Daniel steps in and is fatally wounded. Meanwhile, a group of children surrounds Ra protectively, but the guards subdue the colonel, leaving him unconscious and sending him to the dungeon with his surviving team members. Furious with the natives for aiding the Earthlings, Ra dispatches gliders to attack their village, resulting in catastrophic destruction and loss of life. Kasuf grieves deeply, believing Ra's anger stems from their kindness towards strangers. Meanwhile, Daniel awakens in a coffin to find his wound mysteriously healed. Wandering through the pyramid, he encounters Ra, who explains that he revived him because humans' bodies are easier to repair. Ra chastises Daniel, claiming the gate should have remained sealed, and warns he will now send the bomb back to Earth, along with a mineral that will exponentially increase its destructive force. Ra claims he created civilization, but will now destroy it to reassert his supremacy as the only god. Elsewhere, Shaoyuri studies the hieroglyphs, and her brother Skara arrives to inform her that Ra has summoned the villagers for a gathering. Shaoyuri confides in Skara that she has learned their true origins and that they must resist Ra's rule, for Daniel has revealed the truth. Soon, the whole village gathers near the pyramid, and some villagers appear ready to revolt. Ra orders Daniel to execute the colonel and his companions, but as Daniel steps forward with his weapon, the tribe members raise their weapons in solidarity with Daniel. In a sudden move, Daniel turns and launches a surprise attack against Ra. Although Ra survives, the soldiers retaliate by firing into the crowd, causing chaos as people scatter. Amidst the confusion, the colonel and Daniel manage to hide among the villagers and escape. The colonel informs his team that he had initially placed the bomb by the gate, but now Ra intends to send it to Earth, which would lead to a catastrophic disaster. Meanwhile, Daniel learns that the tribe considers him to be Shaoyuri's husband. Skara draws a victory symbol on a wall, which Daniel recognizes as the final symbol needed to activate the gate. He tells his friends they can return home, but they first decide to overthrow Ra's tyrannical rule and free the enslaved villagers. In the mines, they confront and kill a guard, which shocks Kasuf and his people. Daniel removes the god's mask, revealing he is not a god but a mere human who has oppressed them for years. This revelation sparks a widespread rebellion against Ra, who is unaware of the uprising. Ra observes a caravan delivering minerals and orders the bomb to be brought to the gate. As the caravan enters the pyramid, gunfire erupts, with the colonel and his team hidden among the crowd. Realizing his grip is slipping, Ra commands the bomb's immediate dispatch to Earth. However, before they can proceed, the colonel sets the bomb's timer and tells Daniel to return to Earth, planning to destroy the gate after their departure. Suddenly, a guard attacks and severely injures Shah Yuri. In desperation, Daniel carries her to Ra's coffin, which miraculously heals her wounds. Meanwhile, the colonel battles a guard stationed by the portal, and Ra confronts Daniel, attempting to kill him. With only 3 minutes left until the bomb detonates, the colonel activates the gem on the guard's hand, triggering a portal ring that decapitates the guard. Daniel notices the portal's activation and, seizing his necklace, jumps through with Shayuri, landing beside the colonel while Ra is left with the guard's severed head. The colonel realizes there is only a minute left on the bomb's timer, but despite his efforts, he is unable to deactivate it. As Ra's ship prepares to depart, he spots the village chieftain and townspeople approaching, realizing his deception has been exposed. In a last-ditch effort, Daniel and the colonel use the portal to send the bomb onto Ra's ship just before takeoff. The resulting explosion annihilates Ra in space. The tribe celebrates their victory, and the colonel bids farewell to the planet's people and to Daniel, who decides to stay with Shah Yuri. Before leaving, he entrusts the necklace to his friend to be returned to Catherine back on Earth.